So first, sort of business ones. Would starting with each of you, could you tell me a little bit about what the movie is about? Starting with you, Ashley.
The movie Divergent to me is one of those rare films that is about a lot of things and it contains a diverse narrative, yet somehow comes together in a single powerful theme that really emotionally lands. And so when I read the script, I felt a deep poignancy about the family setting and Tony Goldwyn and me being parents to these adolescents who are about to go through a really archetypal rite of passage, but then all of a sudden becomes this exceedingly deep odyssey for particularly the female character Triss as she goes through these fantastic landscapes, but it's all really about I have to belong and yet I equally have to individuate. And so within all of that, there remains this powerful love, emotional stuff, but it's action adventure. It's hugely big while also being intensely personal. It's a really successful film in ways that are unusual.
And Tony, for you?
Well, for me, Divergent was this odyssey of this girl, Triss Pryor, who is forced to choose between that which is familiar and comfortable and safe, and that being in contrast to this sort of pounding in her psyche of that who she is somehow different than that, and she feels this compulsion to honor that thing inside of her, and embodied in this, ritual of choosing ceremony of choosing a faction, and she defects from her family and goes on this adventure into trying to authenticate herself. And beyond that, it explores, those rites of passage, as Ashley said, of facing your fears in order to become oneself. And also then set in the landscape of a political environment where, after in a post-apocalyptic world, society's been ordered in this very rigid way, where you have to declare that you are one thing, and that's in contrast to to human nature, and so that becomes something that Veronica explores. I think that's so fascinating and relevant, the way that we have this impulse to want to control or pigeonhole people in ourselves, that makes us comfortable, and yet human nature is always rebelling against that.
Tell me a little bit about your character, because you're obviously both of your characters sort of are leaders in Abbey Nation, and I know you're also clearly a father in real life. Do you draw on that when you work as a father, when in the way you related to Triss?
Yeah. Well, Abnegation is the faction dedicated to selflessness and service, and the abnegation that Neil Berger created is this sort of Zen-like discipline, but very comforting and wholesome sort of world. And as a result of our dedication to service, we've been entrusted with running the government so that we would avoid a lust for power. And Andrew is one of the leaders of that government, which is under threat because this society is actually coming apart at the seams. And so Andrew is trying to hold this all together, and Natalie as well, at this moment when their children defect to different factions. So for me personally, yes, I have two daughters who are a bit older than Triss, but are facing that moment themselves of figuring out who they are and how they enter the real world and what that means for them, and experiencing as a parent my desire to protect them and help them try and make choices that I think will be good for them, but knowing that I need to step back and allow them to lead their own lives. So I really related to Andrew. It was one of the things that really attracted me to doing the project.
And Ashley, I was just talking to Shailene, and I was thinking when you were cast and when I was watching her, because I'd met her before working on this movie with her, and I was remembering you from like Ruby in Paradise and sort of as you, and I thought there was sort of a lovely parallel and sort of maybe the perfect person to play her mother. and I'm curious both from a sort of creative acting perspective and as sort of a mentor, what the experience was like.
Working with Shailene for me was really sweet and gorgeous and resonant. And if I have the audacity to flatter myself, I did feel like I was speaking with myself 15, 20 years ago. I encountered a young woman who has the courage of her convictions, is very self-possessed and comfortable in her own skin. Shay is an exceedingly gifted actor. She works with raw, organic, intuitive emotion. She's very unself-conscious in her process. And I felt an instant love for her, frankly. You know, just a really instant affection that goes deeper than just, oh, you're someone who's really cool. I hope we can hang out together. And our conversations like dropped in right away, as they do with my very best and most sacred girlfriends.
Because I think both of you have a thing where, you know, I think she's at a young age very concerned about sort of what she does with her fame and how she uses it as a platform, you know, and much like I know you do, and I'm not aware, I'm sure, of Tony, how you use, you know, what you do beyond you for the good piece parts of what you can do.
Well, Shay has that awareness already, and I came to it in my career later. Now, it was absolutely a part of who I am, and when I first told a family friend that I was going to come to Hollywood and, you know, sort of ditch the Peace Corps in order to be an actor, and he said, well, what's your plan? And I mentioned all the social justice service work I was going to do while being in acting school. He said, well, are you going to go save the world, or are you going to be an actor? So it was a part of my drive, but I didn't actually step into the social justice space formally until I was like sort of 10 years into my career. And for, you know, whatever reason, I was in kind of a dichotomous either or place. And, you know, what I see in Shay is that she is already integrated.
They're wrapping me up. I don't want you guys to have our day to be any longer, but thank you. I could sit here all day and talk to both of you.
Thank you. All right,
Thanks,
Eric.
Eric.
See you later.